call the July 14th meeting of the Riverside Township Board of Trustees to order. Please rise. And Clerk Blau, would you lead us in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Clerk Blau, would you call the roll?
Trustee Clark? Trustee Drapka?
President accounted for.
Trustee Hollenbach?
Present.
Trustee Lemper, let the record note he is on vacation. Supervisor Wilt?
Present.
Let the record note Clerk Blau is in attendance.
Thank you very much. In your packets, you will find the meeting minutes from the June 9th Board of Township Board meeting. What is your pleasure? I have a motion to approve the minutes as presented. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Trustee Drapka seconds. Motion by Trustee Clark. Are there any additions or corrections? Hearing none. Would all those in favor of accepting these minutes please signify by saying aye? Aye.
I abstain. I wasn't present at the meeting.
Okay. All opposed, nay? Motion is carried. Thank you. Next order of business, are there any communications?
We received several communications. One is from Aging Care Connections, and they wanted to thank us for continuing our partnership with them. And they've included some statistics as far as what groups we are helping within our community, so I can pass this around so everybody can see the details. I received we received two correspondence from the Boy Scouts of America. One is the Pathway to Adventure Council. They want to thank us for fulfilling our pledge for $5,000. And they said that so many people went on to the camp and explorers. The other one was for their a thank you for the $5,000 pledge that we gave to them. And thanks for the generosity and support. So the details of all these, I'll pass around to the individual trustees so they can see them. That concludes the correspondence.
Thank you very much. Are there any comments from the public? Seeing no one here, we will go on to the next item, which is the Supervisors Report. It's been a fairly busy month. During this past month, we've continued to focus on the condition of the building and dealing with matters of reopening when it's safe. We've purchased hand sanitizer dispensers for all the public rooms. They're somewhat temperamental, but hopefully will all work better as they are used. We have a counter and shield just inside the office door for service matters. We had ordered a no-touch paper towel dispenser nearly 2.5 months ago for the men's room on the first floor, which finally arrived this afternoon after many, many weeks of back order. And since it's finally in stock, we ordered 4 more for the other places where towels are dispensed. Of course, upon installation, we discovered there's a design flaw. We've been in touch with the manufacturer who acknowledged that flaw, and they're sending a replacement part so that we can put the paper roll towel, the roll into the machine. You would think that if they know there's a flaw, they would send the right piece. Anyway, the assessor's office took care of ordering their own shields, and they have set up a high-top table in their doorway with a shield for service. The stairwells have also been marked to lead people up the back stairway or to the elevator and down the front for distancing, but we'll see how that works since people don't like to read signs. And, you know, we'll have people going up the down staircase, as if you all remember that novel. The elevator smoke alarm system is on track for proper installation, and we were granted an extension on the temporary permits to finish the job. This actually is an enhancement that we did not have with the old elevator, so the inspector is okay with the delay and is glad it's being put in now. Custodians have also been continuing the cosmetic improvements, including painting, floor polishing, and so forth, and more sanitizing occurs on a daily basis, especially in the bathrooms. This week, I brought back office staff to be in together. We've been alternating until now, and we're starting to get more inquiries about building use and so forth. In fact, the village has started utilizing the rooms for more meetings of committees that have been dormant for months. As I mentioned to some of you, we are reluctant to open the building up to parties and anything other than meetings. There are just too many unknowns. When we do reopen, there will be a need for more precautions, so that is why the topic of higher fees is on the agenda. Those are as yet unknown, but we may need to have someone on duty for more regular sanitation, etc. The new standards for public buildings are sanitation of restrooms every 3 hours, so we would need someone to come in for that kind of attention during an event here. Some exercise class participants keep asking about restarting in-person classes, but until we have a consistent improvement in the COVID numbers, I'm reluctant to put that group at risk, moving around and touching all the same items while breathing more heavily with exercise. Jerry has mentioned to Riverside TV, and now I've been in touch with him, about the possibility of continuing the video classes through the end of the year. And I'm working on the actual numbers, but normally we were doing 3 times per week in person, and now we tape and just show 2, we tape 2 shows at once, and then we just have 2 of the exercise classes each week. Each TV taping is just under the amount that we were paying for the instructor for in-person classes before, and that doesn't count his fee. So I have to run the numbers and figure it out, because we had some credit from classes we had paid for in advance that did not materialize. So we'll see. Jerry has kindly said, rather than billing in advance for those classes, now that taping is more of an unknown on timing, that he'll bill after the fact based on the actual hours worked. One activity we've started looking into restarting is the weekly movies. By moving them to the auditorium where the social distance can be maintained, that would be a possibility. The blinds can make the room dark enough, which is why they're all closed tonight, because we were trying it out in daytime today. Andrew has tried out the speakers we'd purchased for events in the auditorium shortly before the shutdown. The sound comes through loud and clear, and the movies were never really heavily attended, so we wouldn't have any problems, I think, with attendance, but maybe this is an activity that people are ready for. There is a report in your packets on the condition of the bridge that was done by the same architectural firm as past inspections. I had this done in order to assess the condition and any other matters that should be addressed before we do the painting. It only arrived after the packets were first prepared, so you can take some time to digest what it says. What struck me most was that the coating system that was applied about 8 years ago was apparently done poorly, as according to this architectural report, the coating system should last 20 to 30 years. That sounds rather ambitious on an old structure, but it definitely failed sooner than we would have wanted. My next step is to get some expert advice to put together proper specifications for the project to be bid. Going with the lowest bidder may not have worked very well last time, but I don't know if the specifications for the work were properly stated for better results. Structurally, the bridge is sound, but there are some aspects we should address in repairs. The architects suggest the screens along the sides may be easier and more cost-effective to replace rather than coat, and so there's more analysis ahead on that. While in discussion with WJE about the bridge, I asked about a similar analysis of the town hall. That bid came back quite expensive, and I also turned to the firm that had helped us with the elevator project, and their bid is so much lower that I went back to ask questions about the kind of report we can expect from their services, from their examination. The preliminary reports seem to be similar in scope, but WJE does offer some additional steps at a price as well. So this needs a little bit more review. If you would like to look over it and send me any of your comments about the report that we have or the bids that we have on that, as well as the bridge report, that would be appreciated. This past Saturday, the Mental Health Board, in conjunction with Riverside TV, did tape a presentation on anxiety and the effects of COVID-19 on the psychological well-being of our residents. It was very interesting. I think it's going to go over an hour in the full program. There were speakers that dealt with each different age group that we serve and the unique things to look for and how to deal with some of that anxiety and stress. So I think it's going to be a very valuable program that will be both broadcast on Riverside TV, and then we will have it available through our website and otherwise. It's something that we'll promote also in our next newsletter. So I think that went well. If there are any items, I tried to cover most of what's going on. Oh, the farmer's market has started. We've been distributing the vouchers for it. The word about vouchers has spread a little bit wider, so we've had some more inquiries about how does one go about getting them. And in most cases, either people say, oh, well, I don't need food pantry, so leave that for the people who need it more, or they say, oh, I could use that too. So we've had a few more participants in food pantry as well as the farmer's market. We track all the vouchers to know who has used them, who hasn't. We can remind them the next time they get some vouchers. So it's been working, and I just go there every Wednesday and redeem. So far, I think we have redeemed probably about 15 $5 vouchers, a little bit more, probably close to 20 vouchers. So, and that is about all I have, again, unless you have any questions. Well, what we would do is do prepackaged things, so people have something that's sealed that we don't prepare. So, you can get the Costco types of little individual popcorn bags or something like that. Yeah, we can't afford to do that. And we'll have small bottled water or something to go along. I don't think we would do coffee. So we'll see, what's available. As I said, we tested it out. We were a little concerned in the morning. This room was hard to darken, even with the blinds, but the movie isn't shown until afternoon. I said, well, the sun will be on the other side of the building by the time we do that, and it worked out. It was quite pleasant. You could see it well, and we were able to hear well, so it might be a possibility. It's something I would like to decide before we put out a newsletter so that we can promote another activity. It varies. It often varies depending on the movie. We get anywhere from 5 to 15, 16. So, but we wouldn't want to do that many in the small room. All right, if there's nothing else. Trustees. Let me start from this side. Trustee Heilenbach, what have you got for us?
Good evening. The Mental Health Board had its last meeting in the summer last month. At that meeting, Ann Kabitsky has retired from the board. Her and her husband Steve are going to do some traveling. I publicly want to thank Ann for 18 years of dedicated service. She was an asset to our mental health board, and she will be truly missed. We buttoned up some things. Joe Triani, Dr. Joe Triani, our consultant, he put together with Vera the package that was on Saturday. I look forward to seeing the end result on that. From the taping, it looked like it's going to be a very, very good show, or a good program. Also, NAMI, we have going to do the team texting program again next year at the high school. And we're also going to be training first responders and in mental health awareness. They have to be certified now every year. That's a cost that the Mental Health Board feels that we should pick up for the officers. NAMI has just been awarded the firefighters part of it. So we're going to have now firefighters and police officers. Last year, if you recall, we had 85 police officers take it. It was held at Brookfield Zoo, and free of charge for the 85 officers.
Wonderful.
Unless anybody has any questions or comments, that concludes my report. Go. Yes, the teen texting program was a big step for us, and as I reported previously, we had over 500 respondents to it. That's dynamite the first year. I would like to thank the Junior Women's Club that did provide an amount of money to help sponsor, but the Riverside Township Mental Health Board provides most of the funding, 99% of it.
Thank you. Trustee Drapka, do you have anything for us today? And Trustee Clark?
I just want to mention, because the senior exercise class is now on YouTube, I'd like to do a mailing about to 300 seniors, telling them how to access that.
Okay.
And then if we have enough masks left over,
We do. We should be able to.
for masks, since it looks like we're going to be wearing masks for longer.
Yes, it does. And we can purchase more if necessary. We've been trying to make them available as needed.
So, we're looking at a little car or something, and then the mask we can put in an envelope, and, I don't know, Tim maybe draw some worker magic and make that 300 person list into mailing them.
I think she probably could.
I think I did
Let's keep in mind, it took her a long time, but I will ask her. I'm sure she'll do it.
I think once it's in the order that
She's
she's
got it in
created,
that
I
format
think,
now. I
yeah.
think you're absolutely right, Supervisor Wood.
Well,
So,
if it takes her too long, then.
no, she'll be all right. She's fine. She likes projects like that.
Great. Very good. Thank you very much. All right, next on the agenda, we already touched on the Mental Health Board report. So, our next unfinished business would be the Township anniversary events and the discussion of last week, and to make that official today. Would one of you like to make a motion about the Township anniversary events?
I make a motion, we postpone the township anniversary events to a later date, a future date, in lieu of the situation that we have now with this COVID stuff.
I have a motion by trustee Heilenbach, seconded by trustee Clark, to postpone the anniversary events for the township to a later date when it is once again safe to do so. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, then I think we can do this just by a group vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Thank you. On to new business. This is really just to bring it up for future consideration. As I said, we're not quite sure what all of the expenses are going to be, but the room rental and the rates for cleaning costs and so forth due to COVID are something that I wanted to refresh your memories on what we have right now, and perhaps consider right-sizing those prices when we do reopen. We have so far been declining any applications that are in the very foreseeable future. We've had requests for bridal showers, for birthday parties, all of them in the 30 to 50 person range, and especially with children, it's just, there's too many unknowns and too much close contact. All of them would have involved meals. Our tables are not that large. So we simply have said, no, we're not opening it up for that yet. And so far, really, all that we've had here have been meetings. But, yeah. It can be if they're smaller meetings. I mean, I would probably say a meeting that brings 30, 35 people is a little bit too tight yet. And it's summer, hopefully we'll be able to do that and accommodate it. This room, technically with tables, is called a 150 room capacity room. So 50% of that, I think, is pushing it at this point. To go 25% like restaurants indoors, then, you know, that brings you into that 30-something range. So, I mean, if they could do it, I would say if it was a training session where most people are facing in the same direction, we might be able to consider it, but we're really, really very cautious so far. Okay, so, yeah, we don't have to come to any conclusions now. If any of you have any thoughts on this, I would welcome them. As I mentioned in my remarks earlier, we think that if somebody is renting for 6 to 8 hours, we're going to have someone come in and sanitize bathrooms in the meantime. So that's going to be an extra cost, whereas now, by and large, we open and let them have the space available, so.
So they're gonna have to pay for it then?
Well, that's why I'm saying we would need to review these prices, but I wanted you to have them in your possession for future discussion. The report on the swinging bridge, I touched on briefly. Any thoughts or questions that I should reach out about?
So what is the next step? in
There
this?
you
Is
go.
this to hire them or,
So on the bridge, I do want to get back with them, and because this says what kinds of things need doing, in some cases there are vague references to the kind of organization that would do that, so I need to follow up with them for some recommendations of companies that could do some quotes on individual or some.
Is there a company, Supervisor Wilt, that possibly could do it all?
That's what I need to find. In the past, we've always just used Wisjani and Elsner for these projects, but I will see. They probably do have a division that could carry on the administration and help us to prepare a request for bids and so forth. I'm going to check with them, and otherwise I'll check with some of my other resources to see. There's also some engineering firms in the community that some of the municipalities
Right,
use.
yeah.
So I would reach out to those. Novotny comes to mind. They do a lot of the road work in the area, at least the supervision of that. I'm not sure who specializes in bridges, so I want somebody who's going to know this. And there aren't a lot of bridges like this. It came up in the report somewhere, there are like 2 suspension footbridges like this in the state. So there's not a whole lot of expertise, but I'm sure that it relates to other suspension bridges as well. Okay? So if I may just continue to go forward, if the costs for such things get to be higher, I would, if necessary, call a special meeting. And if it's within my spending limits, then I would go ahead and hire somebody to get that going. Because now it's a little too hot to do it, but come early fall, I would like to get that done before winter. All right, and then as I mentioned in my report, there are 2 proposals for inspection of the town hall building. That would include the full exterior surface and include, there are some areas, for example, in this room where there's some moisture invasion, there's some things that we'd like to follow up on so that we can see what that might be. But again, I need to, these need to be drilled down to see. It's a huge difference between the 2.
In price, yes.
In price, for sure. And, of course, just the way they write things up is very different as well, so. So I can't say that I'm ready to,
act on this yet?
act on this quite yet.
I think maybe we could ask the API company if they had a drone, you know.
Well, he said that if we got into greater details, yeah, the drone is part of, they do use it for some things too. They would not be coming out with lifts or anything like that. Most of what they would do would be via drone and visuals. So, I mean, I need to talk to them a little bit more about what it is that they'd be doing. The dates on these are a little deceiving. They didn't really come as early as that would indicate, so. All right, then I guess we can move on to the report on the website, if anybody has any comments or questions. We did not meet in person, we only got these statistics, and of course, with less activity going on, there's going to be less hits, so it is unfortunately a little bit limited in scope. All right, if there's no questions, then we are moving right along, and we are, unless somebody had something that we did not cover, we are up to the warrants and financial reports.
Are you ready for me to read?
We are ready for you.
Okay. I move that the board authorize and ratify payment of the bills identified on the general warrant of July 2020 in the amount of $65,801.72 as presented to this board on the 14th day of July 2020.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
I have a motion by trustee Clark, second by trustee Heilenbach, to approve the general warrant for July 2020 in the amount of $65,801.72. Any discussion? Then Clerk Blau, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Drapka?
Yes.
Trustee Hollenbach?
Yes.
Supervisor Wilt?
Yes,
Motion is carried.
thank you.
I make a motion that the board ratify and authorize payment of the amounts indicated on the following warrants. Utility warrant, $1,029.38. Payroll warrant in the amount of $21,289.93. Health warrant in the amount of $914.50. Grants in the amount of $13,170. General assistant in the amount of $1,600. And the food pantry warrant in the amount of $426.33.
I have a motion to approve these warrants. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
So I have a motion and a second. Motion by trustee Clark, second by trustee Heilenbach to approve the following warrants. The utility warrant in the amount of $1,029.38. Payroll warrant in the amount of $21,289.93. The health warrant in the amount of $914.50. The grants warrant in the amount of $13,170. The general assistance warrant in the amount of $1,600, and the food pantry warrant in the amount of $426.33. Clerk Blau, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Drapka?
Yes.
Trustee Hollenbach?
Yes.
Supervisor Wilt?
Yes,
Motion is carried.
thank you. Are there any questions on any of the other financials? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion we adjourn this beautiful meeting.
I have a motion by trustee Drapka. Did I hear a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Clark to adjourn this meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Thank you.